Hello, this is the Springfield Wire with Dustin Hay. Hello everyone, this is Dustin Hay with the Springfield Wire with a coronavirus update. And why did I say the coronavirus update? Because we're going to talk about some politics that's happening due to this coronavirus. And later on, we will have a conversation with Darren Bailey. I asked him a question, and he submitted a video response because of the whole social distancing. But let's begin. And I was speaking to Carol from the Illinois Conservative Union just the other day, and we were talking about how the political game is right now and how they're trying to pass bills where our votes are going to be a mail-in vote. Well, the same day, Roger Stone messaged me as well. And he sent me a video clip, and this is what he had to say.
This is Roger Stone. The Democrats are trying to utilize a public health crisis in order to institute mail-in voting for the 2020 presidential election. President Donald Trump is exactly right. This is a terrible idea and an open invitation for election fraud. 12 states require by constitution that voters show up in person to vote. Another 35 states have state laws that require the showing of an ID before one is permitted to vote. These state laws cannot just be swept away by federal fiat. This whole mail-in ballot system also puts a premium on so-called harvesting, collecting and turning in the votes of others in large numbers, something that is specifically outlawed in my home state of Florida. While we do not know what the geographic dislocation of voting in person on election day will be by November, we do know that Americans have to show up in person to vote, lest the next presidential vote is likely to be stolen.
You know, Roger Stone hit some really big points on this. Even Carol from the Illinois Conservative Union, when I talked to her in that conversation, we talked about how doing this type of mail-in ballot would actually affect the progressive tax plan vote. I mean, if they're trying to steal election, from the president, think about what they're doing with the progressive tax plan and how they're trying to force this on us. So those are things that we have to really look into. Even the governor's office just last week was trying to restrict us from having garden seeds to be able to produce corn and soybeans and green beans and stuff in our own gardens. I mean, there's a bill right now in the House that's trying to regulate what size of garden we can have and how much produce we can grow. Where's the life, liberty, and your property exist in these kind of bills? Or even in these kind of executive orders? Only because we're going through a pandemic doesn't give him the right to restrict our constitutional rights. I brought this up to the governor's office when I called them on Friday. I left his aide speechless because he did not know how to respond. All I kept on hearing over the phone was, because he really did not know how to respond to this. I brought up the whole fact of abortions and how, what is the governor's thinking? I mean, how is he deeming what essential and what is he deeming not essential? And that was the topic. Because I was like, you're okay with taking life as he's trying to save life, but the medical supplies that we use to try to save the life of the people in the coronavirus are the same ones that you're taking lives with through taxpayer abortion. Plus, he's also complaining about finances and other things. So after this break from Roger Stone, we're going to hit the abortion topic, and we're going to hear what Representative Bailey from the 109th District has to say. So please stay tuned after these following words from Roger Stone.
Special counsel Robert Mueller prosecuted Roger Stone for lying to Congress when there was no Russian collusion, WikiLeaks collaboration, or any other crime to lie about. Roger Stone was really prosecuted because he refused to provide false testimony about President Trump.
I've been targeted for one reason and one reason only. I'm loyal to the President of the United States. I strongly supported his election.
Urge the president to pardon Roger Stone by signing the petition at freerogerstone.com today.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us back here at the Springfield Wire with Dustin Hay. So, before break, I mentioned that I was trying to do some social distancing. I would have rather had Representative Bailey here, but we're trying to social distance. So, I emailed him some questions, and he did a video response. And one of the questions I asked him was, why is abortions deemed necessary? And here is his response to that question.
You know, that's something I got on early on, asking, challenging. Abortions are indeed still being conducted. We've had several groups throughout our district showing up over at the abortion clinics, the Planned Parenthood and the Hope Center over in the Metro East area, and anyway, praying around those facilities and are available outside the gates, trying to talk some of the mothers going in out of having an abortion, and actually there has been one successful case in the last few weeks, which is a blessing. So, you know, all this stems back to the root of, you know, evil in our country. It's a moral issue, and if we just simply don't understand and acknowledge life that's created by God, well, then you go back to the blob of cells. I was talking with someone just recently and a few days ago about this same issue, and we continually hear the right of, well, it's a woman's choice, it's her body. Well, that's the contention. My contention is, and the church's contention is, well, that's life inside the womb. So where's the voice, or where's the right for the life that's inside that womb? So anyway, the big picture here right now is why this argument is so prevalent is because we need surgical masks. We need the N95 dust masks. We need the gowns. We need those in our nursing homes. We need those in our hospitals. We need those in our prisons. We need those in our local jail facilities. And have a very tight supply, and many people don't even have access to those at all. Yet, just in Illinois, we have over 40,000 abortions a year, so that equates to about 110 abortions per day. So if we want to look at this as a supply and resource, that's all we're asking. We just stop abortions temporarily till this situation goes through, and there's a potential 4,000 to 5,000 masks and available for to stop this, to deal with the people who are on the front lines, the nurses, the doctors, the EMTs, the police officers, the firefighters. I just read an article explaining that 60 police officers in Chicago have now tested positive for this disease. So I'm receiving a lot of requests through the hospitals, through the nursing homes, through the health centers, through the law enforcement agencies, and through our prisons and jails that we need masks. We don't have them. I'm hearing stories that nurses and doctors are being asked to wear this mask, all day long, and sometimes for several days, and this is not healthy. So these supplies and these abortion centers need to be sent to where they're needed, and abortions do indeed need to be halted for a time until this health scare is over with. So that's my answer to that. And unfortunately, a state government has not responded to that at all. So I encourage people to reach out to your elected official, call the governor's office, and express your concern. So
Darren Bailey is 100% correct on this. I mean, it is foolish to have abortion still essential during this time. I mean, we need those medical supplies to fight the coronavirus. I mean, you hear Governor Pritzker every single day in his daily briefings saying how much we need all these medical supplies, and sitting there talking crap to Donald Trump, or even talking crap to our president about our president as well. The problem is why isn't he doing something about it? That's that failed leadership, that unethical, non-common sense leadership. We see it with, members of the Democratic House and also the Democratic Senate seats. They bring up these bills like this, where we can't have a leaf blower, where, we can't have a lot of other things in life, even regulating gardening. I even talked about that before break, how we just fought last week on being able to buy seed to grow tomatoes and grow carrots and corn. The problem is we need to do things like this to benefit our lives. Now let's look at the unemployment. What has the governor's office done for the unemployment? I've actually been on the phone with the governor's office discussing these issues. And the problem is the governor's office don't have a clue on how bad of an impact this has on people. What about people with unemployment? That's going to be on unemployment that has child support obligations. What is he doing about them? Did you know if you miss one child support payment, it's 9% interest on that child support payment until you get caught up? So how many months are we going to go through this? That's things that we have to look at. Yeah, I mean, our budget's shot. It's been shot. Why do we need a government bailout? We don't need one. We need to fix our problems before we get bailed out. Not just add more money onto it and write more checks, which is the Democrats' way of doing things. We're going to tax the hell out of you, and we're just going to write out more checks. I mean, come on. Really? We have to do things better as a state. We have to do things better as communities. Take a common sense approach and release some of these nature areas, or let some of these small business come into play, because that's what's killing our economy. Not allowing small businesses to perform their duties. Putting more people out on their asses. You know what? Let's look at those things. Let's address those problems. An increase in tax is not the accurate solution for this. And he might think it's a solution. He might think taxpayer abortions are essential because, with the millions of dollars that Planned Parenthood and these abortion clinics donate to their candidacies, yeah, I can see why he's more favoritism over lobbying groups and people that lobby and donate millions to their candidacies. But the problem is that's not the approach that our founding fathers wanted. In the Federalist 10 paper, James Madison wrote, and he spoke to the New Yorkers during the Constitution, in the ratification process. And he talked about factions and how factions would destroy America. And how the Constitution is supposed to protect us from faction. The problem is factions today have figured out a way to slither around the amendments of the Constitution. I have actually written letters to the Department of Justice addressed to William Barr, our Attorney General of the United States, requesting for the Department of Justice to intervene on constitutional regulation and also to look at what Governor Pritzker's actions have been and if they are actually constitutional or not. So please stand with me. and fight this fight. We cannot support these ideas. And we cannot afford these ideas. We need to build better, stronger communities. Just recently, I was let go of a job because the corporation is closing its doors, and they filed a Chapter 11. You know, during this whole coronavirus, it has caused more obstacles for me to get unemployment and to find gainful employment. So, why is it that I'm having a harder time trying to find a job because of the governor's responses? I shouldn't be. He hasn't closed the right businesses. He hasn't done the right things that needs to be done. So please stand with me and let's fight this. Let's make abortions non-essential. Let's open up small businesses. Let's regulate corporations more to benefit their employees better. Those are the things that we need to do. Those are the things we need to look at. Not pension benefits, not an outstanding obligation of bills, back bills, because our leadership in Springfield fails to comply in trying to find a solution. You know, there's 7 representatives. They're the Eastern Bloc House representatives for the state of Illinois. They have been dogged. They have been everything over their approach to common sense politics. And that is what we need here in the state of Illinois. So again, please stand with me and let's make America great again. Thank you. God bless.